It's Monday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi, and as always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, Mariam Longe. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. Weekend was good. Mostly, I spent a lot of time watching like the Israeli-Palestinian stories, just also documentaries, you know, to just give me some context, because my context has always been from the biblical Western media view, and I just wanted to have a more, you know, wider opinion about it. And I think it depends on what side that you're standing on to give you. But the reason I bring it up is because I remember a conversation when my husband and I were just started dating, and then there was this issue, this crisis in Jos, and my parents and my family, they were sort of looking for where to stay. And when I told him about it, he just seemed almost casual about it. Oh, okay, I hope they're fine. Then a few days later, India, something happened in India, and then he was in front of the TV. He was emotive, and I said, excuse me, I told you about my own that happened right in your backyard. You did not have the same reaction. And I realized it's because we do not put, either we don't do enough putting it out there for the main media to see, or maybe our stories are not that great for the world to hear. And so it brings me to what is happening in the North as well. You know, there's this constant thing I hear from the North, where is we do not highlight what's happening in the North as much as if it was happening in the South. Yeah. So we need to always look inwards. There are people dying, there are children being kidnapped in schools. We need to look inward and see what we can do, and also highlight our stories and tell our stories and do what's best for our people. Yeah.
Well said, Mariam. How are you doing?
I'm fine. Today is the Celebrations Symposium, and I had the picture uploaded just now. And happening at the Neka Hall at Alausa, we'll all be there. The speakers are German and Nikolakbo, Lola Shonei, Tembekile M. Nicholas, and Oye Akin Dende, Obi Asika. And, you know, the topic, of course, is who know, go know. Who know, go know. Sorry, leveraging on the global rise of our creative economy. When I saw Oye Akin Dende on the list, I knew that they were ready for the creative industry. Yeah. He started the streaming with, trying to remember the platform, streaming of music in Nigeria in partnership with some, I think, mobile network at the time. And people started streaming, and they're the pace setter for all those things. So you want to learn more, make sure you attend. It's a free event. Just waka come. It starts at 10.
Yes,
at Neka Hall.
We're going to be there also right after the show.
Yes.
How you doing, Obia Jelu?
I'm doing amazing. We bless God for life. I've been lamenting the cost of groceries and foodstuffs. That was what I was lamenting this morning, because we had a little bit of an altercation this morning. Provision and food allowance that was given has finished. Today is just the night. Oga, come and help your sister and drop something. Say, no, you cannot tell me you finished that amount of money. You cannot tell me, you cannot tell me. So I started listing. We've had guests, you know, things have doubled prices, you know, constantly. Even last week, Nima helped me get some meat, and that was not the price I usually would get it. So he didn't understand that things really increase, and he didn't understand that he needed to give me extra money. So this is a cry out to
These are really
brother,
tripled.
please give me extra money. No
But
soup
do you
in the
know
house.
one thing with the men? When it comes to groceries, they don't get it. But when it comes to their things,
They do.
Yeah.
they get it.
Gadgets
They
and
understand that it has increased on their own side. But
Absolutely.
Please, I'm vexing as my body's peppering me right now. I need money.
Becoming that.
How are you doing?
how are you?
Fine, I'm doing fine, you know. One of those weekends I just
Just
chilled, you know. Just thank God for it.
You did not go for any
Well,
parties,
something
no
important
events.
happened.
There's no party.
So I need to...
Why are you events? I've forgotten. On Friday, I was at an event.
Exactly.
Remind me, God, Lord help me. I was at an event. Saturday, I know I went somewhere, but thank you all for inviting me. My brain is just right now.
A terrible person.
Had a blast.
You had a blast. Can you remember why, where and
you
why?
had that blast?
I don't know, man.
Let me quickly share a condolence message with my co-wife.
Okay.
You know, my brother-in-law's wife. Her father passed yesterday in the US, and we had the janaza. That's the Brima Peregrino family of Lagos and Ilorin. My heart is with you, inshallah. May Allah grant Baba Jannah and forgive his sins.
Yeah. So I was at a
So do we say amen?
I remember. Yes,
Amen,
amen.
yeah, amen.
Did
So I
you
was at a
remember?
pink event on Friday. Because what happened was that, so there's a lady, her name is Amina Bajavialina. She has an event where She actually supports women who have dealt with breast cancer. And so that on Friday was 10 years, and she was celebrating it. And, you know, it was just women, a room full of women who actually have experienced breast cancer, and they were just sharing their stories and helping women to know to get checked early. So you actually have a monthly check. I didn't realize it was monthly, I thought it was annual. Well, I was hearing for the first time, you actually have to have a monthly check where you do your self-examination.
Okay, yeah.
And then
I thought that was every day in the bathroom.
yeah. And Kemi Ogunle invited me for dinner on Saturday, which was really fantastic. I went there, it was at the hotel, had a ball. You know, I was there with Chigirl. Chigirl shared her story. We learned so much. And it's just a good place just to have women talking and supporting each other. Thank you very much all for inviting me. Let's go on a break. When we come back, we go through the front pages of the paper. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're going to start with the nation. Federal government targets 5 million jobs in 5 years for youths. Why banks should follow rules in granting loans to governments. Stakeholders, insecurity still challenge to South-South development. 1,000 killed in 2 days of Israeli-Palestinian Middle East war. Governor seeks dredging of river Niger Benue to halt flooding. Speaker sets performance benchmark for Lagos councils. Eminent industrialist Chris Ogunbanjo dies at 99. Okay,
so I have the Speaker of Lagos, and I like this one that he has said. So, at a gathering where he had all 57 local governments and LCDA chairmen in Lagos, and he spoke to them. He talked about how they are handling local government. He frowned at their aloofness. He berated the chairman for personalizing the councils and their allocations under their community. He warned them that they should also not create a power block where their vice chairmen are beneath them or subordinate to them and all of that, that they're beyond control, or their councillors, you know, everybody kowtowing to them. He said that the managers and treasurers that are constituting themselves negatively. He also talked about how they cannot manage primary healthcare centers within local government. He said it's a basic thing. The primary healthcare centers within local government should be functional, and it is not something that is hard. He said they should not also use forever to do a road, and then the road will not be durable. They should do road that when people pass through that road, they will remember them well. Yes. I like that he said that they will now, going forward, be monitored, and they must work to meet the people's needs and yearnings. The local government has become the most docile of the arms of government. They don't do nothing, you don't feel them, and you cannot even reach out and complain of anything to them, except state comes to them.
Exactly.
So it shouldn't be. We shouldn't have a flood in your local government. It shows that you did not check whether the gutters were blocked. No, you just desilting gutters and making sure waste. Or you check markets. Imagine what happened at the trade fair the other day. Yeah. The water was everywhere. Cars were buried in the flood. We have local governments. Before we get to Alausa, somebody is near us.
All right, so the federal government take the major headline. Dr. Betta Edu, that's the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, has put her foot down, saying that it's not going to be business as usual. According to her, she says and acknowledges that more programs will be actually initiated to include education, healthcare, fashion, technology, agriculture, works, and so many others. She talked mostly about the N-Power program, saying that there's a lot of discrepancies. Some are being owed, which she acknowledged. Others have been collecting money without actually going to their place of assignment. So there's an internal audit ongoing, and they will know exactly who is being owed, pay them off, and ensure that the program works as it's supposed to be. She said that to earn the confidence of Nigerians in the expanded program, transparency, accountability will be the benchmark. It will no longer be business as usual, as we make concerted efforts to put the nation on the right track, ensuring that no one directly or indirectly unleashes suffering on Nigerians. They assure all the beneficiaries and genuine claims that will be resolved their cases once they complete the verification process, and no one will be owed going forward. So I'm happy about that, and they're saying that more jobs will be created going forward, and they'll be working with other organizations to ensure that these jobs are sustainable going forward.
Yeah, I have Kwara State. So the governor of Kwara State had hosted the Minister of Water and Sanitation, Professor Joseph Youssef, And while they were there, the governor expressed concern over the human and material damages the annual flooding inflicts on the country, especially communities living along the tributaries of the nation's major rivers, that's the rivers Niger and Benue. And he's saying that the federal government should expedite the action on dredging on the rivers Niger and Benue. We are aware of what happens annually when they overflood and the communities are affected. And federal government is saying actually this is something that they are working on. They've set committees on it. And this is something that has used to happen, but they're going to start doing that again. And then, to help in protecting lives and property along the tributaries.
Okay, so Secretary to the Government of the Federation, SGF, George Akume, explained why banks should not compromise lending rules in granting credit facilities to the federal, state, and local governments. So the senator said that strict adherence to regulations will ensure that monies are borrowed through the right way and for the right reasons. So he was calling on banks to follow the provisions of the Fiscal Responsibility Act, FRA, when considering loan requests from governments and their agencies at various levels. He also admonished them, and he was convened by the head of strategic communications at the Fiscal Responsibility Commission, FRC. And he went ahead to say, and I quote, "The Fiscal Responsibility Act 2007 is Nigeria's foremost legal framework for the promotion, monitoring, and enforcement of fiscal discipline. It stipulates in Section 45, subsection 2, that lending by banks to governments on their agencies in contravention of the provisions of the Act shall be unlawful." And they went ahead to read up what was in the policy. So the idea is they focused their discussions on measures to enhance compliance, to improve the nation's debt management practices, and those laws and regulations must be followed so that the monies are borrowed right and they're able to pay. At the end of the day, all the stakeholders will be on the same page.
Okay, let's move on now to the Punch. CBN investigator probes banks over 1.27 trillion naira intervention funds. Governors Labour begin talks over the 35,000 wage award. 1,000 killed as Israeli-Hamas conflict rages. US deploys munitions. Jakpa, FGOK's contract jobs for retired doctors. Sanwo-Olu orders demolition of markets built on drainage. Road crashes deaths dropped by over 1,000, says FRSC. FG to grill N-Power Consultants plans 5 million jobs. And pensions in 2.4 trillion naira deficit before reform, says Pencom DG. Okay, which story are we starting
So the
with?
governor of Lagos was on the island.
Yes, he
the
was.
Lagos Island over
His
the
boots.
weekend. Yes, he had to wear boots. He said he visited the Bombata market, the Jankara market, and it is saddening. He expressed sadness over their outright disregard for their well-being and environment and the way they are comporting themselves. The flood, he says, any building, any shop, market built over drainages will have to be taken down. And he has given information to the illegal squatters that their activities will be stopped, must stop immediately. He also used the opportunity to warn them about clogging the drainage, illegal dumping of refuse. He said, starting tomorrow, today, that's today, Monday, the Ministry of Environment will start giving demolition notices to all the stores that have been built on the drainage. And he said he uses the opportunity to give them 1 week. So you are hearing in the news now. Nima is reading it.
There was on social media.
Know that
like this.
it's 1 week. I did not even see social media. 1 week or second is pátápátá ọjọ́ mẹ́jọ. Let me even say it for them in Yoruba. Pátápátá ọjọ́ mẹ́jọ. That's 8 days. That's the traditional definition for their 1 week. So Sunday to Sunday next week you have been notified. By Monday, they take down all the structures. He said he visited Jankara, Ojogiwa, Oroyiyin, Idumagbo, Belewura markets, all of those places, and I agree. Because if you experience flood in a gutter market or this Idumota market, you will hate being on the island during the rainy season. And it's possible to have it dry. Please extend it to trade fair, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Other stories in Punch.
Yeah.
See how much time we have? Well, I have to go on a break.
Okay.
When we come back, we continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So I'll start with continuing with the major headlines. So the CBN investigator, as many of you know, last week we took the story where preliminary reports have been presented to the president on their findings of the investigation on CBN. But however, in this morning's report, there's been, according to Punch report, 1.27 trillion intervention funds still sitting in commercial banks. According to the investigations, they are undisbursed intervention funds. Some of these banks, as you know, Access Bank, Fidelity Bank, Guarantee Trust Bank, UBA and Zenith banks, many of them have these facilities. Many of these facilities, intervention funds were supposed to be for health sector intervention facility, paddy aggregation, agricultural anchors growth program. We always talk about it on this program. They also include micro, small and medium enterprise development fund, real sector support facility. Most of these funds, according to this report, are well sitting down in the banks. They've not been disbursed to citizens, and that people are complaining that government is not supporting their businesses. Well, according to the preliminary reports from which I'm reading from Punch here, saying that many of these funds are still in the banks. It says that there's also about 955 million for creative industry financing initiative, 8.6 for non-oil exports, so many other interventions. Anyway, we're hoping that as the president eventually reveals the context of the content of this report, we will know exactly what happened. Because according to the SGF last week, the issues we're having is leadership. It's a problem of leadership where monies have been disbursed to support, but for whatever reason, these monies haven't been disbursed to Nigerians who actually need this. So that after the investigations, we'll know exactly who the culprits are, and some banks have already been invited for questioning concerning some of these funds that are in their bank. And even the new CBN governor has said specifically that he has to restructure CBN to focus primarily to be advisory, not to be involved in direct financial disbursement of funds and stuff like that. This is not really a core anymore. That he's going to find a way to restructure it such that they are all on the advisory role going forward. But we'll see how that. I'm looking forward to see that report when it eventually comes out, and then we'll know hopefully the culprits will be arrested.
Yeah, so we know that the Labour Union, Nigeria Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress reached an agreement with the federal government to grant a wage award of 35,000 naira only to federal government workers, which was supposed to begin from September, pending when a new national minimum wage is expected to be signed into law as one of the ways to cushion the effects of the fuel subsidy removal. Private sector operators are saying that they are ruling out fresh allowances for workers as a result of this decision. They haven't given details on how they want to go about that. State governors also are gearing up to meet with labor unions in their states as regards the call for the upward review of the salaries of workers in their states. It says some governors have already started talking with labor in their states to come up with a plan and a proposal on how that will work for both parties. Several states, including Niger, Katsina, Gombe, Osun, and others, also expressed their intention to engage with labor on the wage award. So some states, they had to highlight what some of the states were saying, but because of time, I won't go to all of that. Some of the states are saying that they need time to process this information. They are expecting the federal workers to start. The idea was that after the federal government workers start receiving theirs, they will now start negotiating with the states. The states will have to pay according to what they have in their pockets. So that they need time. They don't want to be rushed into that decision. They need time. Different states are saying they are ready, but they need time. They need the federal government to understand that they have to work with the resources available to them, but they are looking towards paying that 35,000 naira,
Okay.
workers.
That means our relatives are going to be richer. Are watching you. Anyways, I have this story here. It's about federal government approving the appointments of doctors and nurses and other clinical healthcare workers as contract staff. So these are retired people who have attained the age of retirement, and if they want to come back as contract staff, they are able to at the salary that they had retired from. That's if they so desire. So the correspondent for Punch said they obtained a circular that was addressing it. First of all, they were addressing the issue of the age, retirement age increment from 60 to 70 and 75 respectively. But the board says that after careful consideration of the memorandum, the council rejected that request. They said that because professionals in the health sector were leaving the country because of so many other issues like unfavorable work conditions and service, and not as a result of retirement age. That after all, there are some states that had already gone ahead to increase retirement age, and people were still leaving. So it is not the retirement age that is a determinant of whether people stay or leave. And then they also expressed that they are dissatisfied with health workers' attitude towards work, that in spite of the efforts of government to encourage health workers, the exodus of health workers had not abated. And they said that the government should also engage the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria, the Nigerian Medical Association, to extract some sort of commitment from them, from medical doctors, concerning how they're living. So it is now been signed that if you've retired and you'd like to, and as a health worker, and you'd like to go back, based on the salary that you had retired from, you can do that. So I'm looking to my mom. Would my mom find this interesting? Would she? I wonder, really, if you're retired and you're already just lounging.
I think she wants to still.
Yeah, and she still wants to, but at the salary, no.
They should increase
yesterday's
it
price is not today's price.
Avio. Okay, moving on to Vanguard.
Okay.
107 senators urge caution, rule of law, as Keyamo and Atiku disagree. INEC worried over security situation in Imo, Bayelsa, and Kogi. Israeli-Palestinian war, U.S. moves nuclear aircraft carrier close to crisis zone. Tinubu snubs Niger coup leaders' overtures for direct talks. Humanitarian minister talks tough 6 audits of the End Power program. And Tinubu Ogun governor mourn legal icon Chris Ogunbanjo.
Okay, so I want to talk about the U.S. moves nuclear aircraft carrier close to crisis zone. Obviously, the U.S. is not without bias in this war that Israel and Palestine are going through right now. If with one voice they're talking about Ukraine and Russia, and they are supportive of Israel taking out the entire Palestine. So, war started, and I don't want to even take it again. From the angle that this report is from Vanguard, just a moment. This angle that they are taking it from Vanguard is very biased. Very, it doesn't reflect.
Let's see what.
No, it doesn't reflect. No, I'm entitled to my own opinion on the story as well. No, it's not. It doesn't reflect the true picture of what is on ground. They are saying that more Israelis have been killed, but if you see what is happening from those on ground, it is not the truth. But let's just leave it at that.
The human interest.
The human interest. We can't allow killing.
Review to see exactly what the paper said. After that, it's our hot topic. We now discuss our opinion. Right now, what the paper
I agree with you.
Is what the paper reviewed.
Sorry about
that. But Nima is Nima, so calm down.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Another story in Vanguard.
Yes, so I took a story inside. In Calabar, 2 communities, Ovonum and Ofatura, in Obruba local government area of Cross River State, are locked in communal strife. They say it has left many people dead and over 300 houses destroyed. The conflict was caused by a dispute over a parcel of land at their farm areas, and thousands of people are already left homeless following the destruction of the residential houses and farmlands. They said in April this year there was a conflict between 2 communities. That one left many people dead and houses destroyed. Recently, Independence Day again, they had another misunderstanding, and the fight broke out in a plantation and between youths of both communities. They said the crisis got to a climax, and youths from both sides got home, related information to their leaders, and before they realized what was happening, I think it started in the midnight, the community started fighting each other again. It was the intervention of the soldiers that even solved some things. But before they got there, there was a lot of havoc that had been inflicted on them. And so the House of Assembly member representing the area in Cross River State's House of Assembly, Egbe Ebeng, said he had no hand in the conflict, that he's enjoyed peace in the community because of his intervention in the first place. And when he got a call about the recent problem, he had to move quickly from where he was in Yala, having an oversight function down to the community to try to mobilize security to intervene. That the destruction is also on both communities. So both communities are hurting at the moment, and they have to hold their leaders, their obas, the local governments accountable to making sure that there's peace in the land in both communities. It's not working for them anymore. A lot of them have left there to go find a homeless somewhere else.
All right, so as efforts to resolve the Niger crisis continues, overtures by the head of the junta to have direct access to our president, who's also the chairman of ECOWAS, has been outrightly rejected. So our president is saying, according to diplomatic sources actually, consenting to such a direct one-on-one talks with the leader of the junta is an assault on democratic governance in the region and disrespect to the still detained Nigerian president, Mohamed Bazoum. That our president specifically has refused any direct contact with Chiani. Also, many have also warned that this could be, it cause an impasse. And we don't want that, although, because we still see that the Nigerian government sources also confirmed that our president's position that having a direct interaction with Chiani would improperly legitimize a coupist whose government is not even recognized by ECOWAS. So it's a really, really tough situation, but the discussion really is for them to still send emissaries on behalf of our president to continue talks with the junta and to hopefully get this resolved as soon as possible. Okay, I think let's just see if we have time for one quick story in Nigerian Tribune. Let's find a story we've not taken. Wike orders demolition of multi-billion naira property despite court order. Kogi 2023, don't allow strangers, APC urges electorate. Customs intercept 12 trailers of imported rice across southwest region. And lawyer philanthropist Chris Ogumbajo dies at 89. Any story?
Okay, so
Go ahead.
should I take the Wike story quickly?
Go ahead, please.
Go ahead.
Or do you want to take on?
Take the wicked story.
Okay, so
More interesting than
there's a court judgment, a subsisting court judgment from April 4th this year, granting a property that was in dispute with the former FCT chairperson the property is known as Shraddha Nigeria Limited. And that property, they went to court, they got a judgment that perpetually granted an injunction against the FCT to interfere with that property, to lock it down, seal it, or demolish it. But besides that judgment, went ahead this year to demolish it. And sadly, it is a property that is neighbored with the former speaker, Bajabia Mila.
Wow.
And so you know the controversy that will be whipped around on this story.
Okay,
I
that's
hope
all.
that the person goes to court again.
All right, that's all we can take on Front Page Review. We come back and move on to our hot topic of today. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So this morning we're discussing an issue that has been trending for the past few weeks in different parts of the country. The issue of the allegation that people's manhood have been stolen at different points in time. So lots of videos on social media of people claiming that either their spouse's manhood was stolen or their own manhood was stolen. And where we've had jungle justice, where people are killing people based on an allegation that they stole somebody's manhood. These stories have been going on. There was even one on the FCT, Day area of the FCT, after an angry mob attacked a policeman attached to the Gwagwa Police State Division. Policemen, about 5 of them, and the gathered that yet to be identified man had raised the alarm of his manhood disappearing after coming in contact with a young man called Mubarak. And the resident of the area who did not want to be named, the mob surrounded him and began to beat him to restore the alleged the missing manhood. And one thing is clear. Nobody has even shown a clear evidence of the empty space of this man. Because, that's the question I've been asking. Have we seen a clear picture of the man or woman's private parts that's been missing based on these allegations? Nobody has said that, but it's only either we see the jungle justice, we see people being arrested, we see people crying and wailing, doing videos. What are your thoughts on this? How do we move forward? I got messages, loads of messages over the weekend concerning this matter that we need to look into it. What are your thoughts on this? Does it really happen? Do you know somebody it happened to? I would love to hear from you. Have you experienced that kind of a jungle justice? Have you even heard of this story before? Let us hear from you. You can call us on the numbers on your screen: 081-076-41679, 090-241-63440. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. I know we don't want to always act ignorant of these some things. Some people will say, oh, this has happened. You guys don't pretend like it doesn't happen. Well, some of us have no idea it really happens. Some believe it happens, others believe it does. What are your thoughts? Do I start with you?
Yeah, start with me because I have very little to say about it. I don't believe that it happens.
Right.
I think that people make these things up so that they can attack somebody. Maybe they already have like a grudge or something or a grouse with the person, and then they set a person up because it does not make sense to me if that person is not quickly taken to a hospital and then determined physically that the person is without, you know, the body parts that is missing. And this idea of just immediately pouncing on the person that's been accused without proper investigation, without confirmation, without even confirming who this accuser is, for me, that's just a big issue. Why is it so easy for us to immediately pounce on someone, want to kill the person, or even go as far as killing someone without confirming that what you have accused them of is the truth? I've seen a video where a woman who happened to just be walking through the market, you know, and immediately she was stopped. And the person accused her, you just touched my whatever and it's gone. And immediately people surrounded her. They wanted to beat her because someone, somewhere that no one knows, just accused her of it. And I like that, you know, we're discussing this so that we know exactly what this means. And if it has happened, can we see pictures? Can we see evidence? Can we see police reports with evidence showing that this actually happens? And when it does, what do? Do they put in a box? Do they put in their purse? And where do they take it to? What do they use it for? It does not make sense to me. I just think these are mischievous people that need to be dealt with.
Someone is saying something here. Truth is truth. It says Morayo was trying to correct. It said it does not disappear, but it shrinks to a smaller size. And I'm asking, how did you know the size of the man's manhood before it shrank? We need proper investigations. Growing up, I used to hear this thing, it started from way back, you know, and it usually happens in the marketplace, maybe those AK days or Orie days and all of that, where the market is usually crowded. Somebody will just hit you, and the next thing, they are mobbing somebody, they are killing somebody, accusing the person of stealing another person's manhood. I want to believe it's a superstition, because so far, we haven't seen anyone who it was proven that there was no longer manhood, or the manhood now became like that of a little child. We need to prove certain things. Who are those people that know this man to ascertain that the manhood was bigger than it is? And, you know, we need to investigate properly before we start. And it also has a lot to do with communicating to people. A lot of information needs to be passed. Most of the people who we hear that this kind of things happen to are basically illiterates who would gather and just feel, we've heard, though, it has disappeared, though, and everybody's carrying sticks, they're carrying stones, they're carrying everything to kill the person who they have not even checked. The owner of the manhood that has allegedly disappeared has not even been checked to see, is he still there? But once you mention it, everybody's running to kill the next person. The police needs to get into this. You know, that area of, you know, the occurrence, wherever it happens, the people there need to be questioned. We need to begin to prosecute people so that people don't just die on superstitious, unbelievable things like this. Even growing up too, it was not just the manhood, though. They will say your breast will disappear. Somebody hits you and your body part. How does somebody hit you? How can somebody hit you and your body part disappears? And nobody takes you to the hospital to even check, to be sure that it was there before or it actually disappeared, and we are rushing to kill people. So please, this should be made a crime. It should be added to the Constitution. The police should be on this. It's a crime to touch anybody's hair that something disappeared. Take the person to court. Let them prove it there.
You know, well, I'll come to you, Nima, your thoughts, because I think I would like to drive this conversation to the issue of jungle justice. But let me hear your initial thoughts of this. Do you even believe it happens in the first place? Let's start with that.
So I can only imagine, those people, most people who believe in juju. And our law does not fully recognize juju. There's a part where our law recognizes some form of physical. So you use something on somebody's cup or hand, that kind of juju. But the law doesn't fully recognize juju as the way they see it. So the law does not know an unseen or a supernatural occurrence. So those people who carry out this mob justice, I've seen this thing happen too many times. As a human being, I've never seen it in my life. I can only imagine if somebody said my breast disappear. If you come back, I don't want the breast anymore. That's the truth. Breast that I've go and come back, it's not a breast. That's the truth. I don't want it again. One time, somebody was on a bike and a guy behind him, suddenly he just started screaming. Something has disappeared, it has disappeared. And then they gathered this poor guy, they mobbed him, They killed him. The body was there. I had to be calling Lagos State before somebody came to... We were suffering from the pandemic that was likely to happen from that body for 5 days before they came to carry that body. And that trauma has not left me. So me, if they carry pennies from me, I don't want it again.
So when I read this report... Okay, go ahead.
The other time I saw it, somebody reasonable was on top of it. The chairman in charge of Okada riders in my neighborhood heard this shout again, and he was done with them just carrying out jungle justice. So he summoned the people, the moment they started the shout, he summoned them and told the other guy, how can you prove to us that your something have disappeared?
Sure.
He kept starting. When he touched me, the thing disappeared. He said, come and pull your trouser. That was the end of it.
Oh, it was a lie.
Pull your trouser here. Let everybody that you have called to help you fight for your something that disappeared. Let them all see whether it disappeared. Before you join. That's one action from that man. Yeah. Till today, we are best of friends. Because I've never seen somebody that daring to a crowd.
I mean, I'm looking at all the reports from Daily Post, so many posts, and there are situations where somebody's saying 6 people lost their genitals in this. So there's some communities that are saying that people are losing, and everybody's going out believing this story.
Let's see.
Somebody who's going to investigate this for us. Let me take this call from Tunde calling from Magodo. Good morning, Tunde. Thanks for calling. Oh, I'm so sorry. You know, please, I mean, as much as we want to, I don't want us to trivialize it or even
we're not trivializing.
Or making it look like some kind of thing that can never happen. Because for multiple communities to be saying the same thing, maybe there's something going on that we don't really fully understand.
I believe there's a syndicate on this.
Okay.
That's the way I see it. That there are a group of people who just like to go into communities and make sure somebody is mobbed to death. That's the way I see it. Okay. Because most of the results in my area was mob to death.
So it wasn't about the genitals.
They never tried
to mob somebody to death.
They never tried to get it to a police station. Online recently, I saw a woman who was accused of taking somebody's son, and the woman spoke up for herself and insisted, don't touch me, let's go to the police station so you can prove it because I didn't touch you. She kept insisting, and then, bam, that woman was not mobbed. Most times when people are accused like that, you are still confused of how it's possible to disappear somebody's something. While in that confusion, they will say it's guilt.
Yes.
We saw security officers online who something like that was reported to, and they didn't even let the accused talk. The more he was confused about what to say, the more he was beaten helplessly, and the video is online. So we can't continue like that.
Nike, thanks for calling, ma.
Good
morning, madam.
Good morning.
Yes.
Good morning.
I'm very happy that I'm able to
speak to us.
To talk to people.
Yes.
This thing, it has given me problems. Why will somebody just say, killing me below, and they will start beating? The Nigeria that we are now, and we have been going to school. I would not think that there is listening to up to that standard. That people will just be killing people anyhow. It's good. And there's
Oh, Elijah, it's difficult to hear you. I'm so sorry, I couldn't hear you properly. So what Nima is saying, if I'm clear, is that it's not about the genitals missing. It's about the need. There's some kind of a spiritual need to mob somebody to death. Maybe internally, maybe that's
like rituals.
Rituals,
need,
right? To mob, to kill
blood.
somebody, to take blood publicly. Yeah. So that they now use that
as an excuse
to mob somebody.
My theory is, as I said earlier, that I feel maybe someone actually has a personal grudge against the person and sets the person up. I think that they use the opportunity also to cause commotion so that they can steal, can do proper, do like other criminal activities without getting caught or without getting noticed. It is not, I also believe that it's not about genitals, but I also do not think it's a spiritual thing. I think it's mischievous, criminally minded people that are causing commotion, and innocent victims are caught up in it.
Okay, so Bola Joko Adegbite here says, good morning, ladies. This thing happens. Not all is true, though. I've seen an old woman who was accused of taking manhood before. They stripped her naked, and I saw like skinless penises between her thighs. So on one hand,
skinless penises. Let me imagine that for a second.
A woman
how does she know it's skinless penis?
She said she saw it.
What if she was a hermaphrodite?
So let's assume that on one hand it's not spiritual, like you said, and on another hand it's spiritual, right? How do we now prove that it actually happened? One of the ways we can prove, like the story you just gave us now, where the man said, oh yeah, strip the person you have accused, let us see. That's one way to prove, so that you don't
The
kill...
accuser, you mean?
The accuser. The accuser and the accused, we show what happened. They stole your own. Is this person that stole? You strip, let us see. Before people start touching anybody. And then if it's not ascertained, maybe as we see it, because we can never tell, this is the world, things can happen. You now see that something has happened, please carry them to the police. Yes. The police will know what to do with them or take it over from there. Because one of the reasons why we will not allow people just kill people for hearsay is because it may be a lie. Yeah. But what if it's true? Because the spiritual still controls the physical. You just showed me a picture now in this thing where they showed, it's a horrible picture to look at. She just showed it to me now.
I just saw it on
the thing, an adult is looking like that of a child. And that's what they say happens when they take it. It's not like it disappears.
That's not even how a child's own looks.
Let me go on a break.
When you come back, we'll talk
further
about
on this matter, because stay with us, right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. All right, so I was telling someone, I think I mentioned it recently, that if I ever have to relocate, it's not because of government, it's because of Nigerians. Because sometimes when you think of the way we behave, and when you think of the tactics people use just to steal, because this issue of manhood theft is usually about robbery. You know, I mean, I was reading an article from Nigerian people saying that, listen, this is an age-long scheme people do, where you just accuse somebody, an innocent man, of stealing somebody's manhood, creates an uproar in the market. People started running around. Before you know it, your syndicates begin to steal. And because everybody's now, they're no more on guard. So these are things that we do to each other. And then it gets to the police, because I mean, I was seeing a report from the police saying that usually after investigation, they find out that either the man miraculously returns or nothing really happened.
But there's no truth.
It's unfounded.
So somebody sent a picture on Twitter that I shared now about how a supposed manhood theft is supposed to look when the skin is investigated. And then a medical expert calls it, what's the name they call it?
Micro penis.
Micro penis. So when I saw the picture, I felt it was a gestational defect in male children. So somebody who has it now practices the trade of using it. Because I had an experience, a funny one. My husband's manager was driving from home, and it was Abule-Ado, just by the filling station at Abule-Ado bus stop. Somebody jumps in front of the car. But he wasn't on speed, so he didn't hit him. But the man lied down. And some people were saying, you don't hit him, you don't hit him. Two other guys just started shouting, you don't hit him, you don't hit him, you don't hit him. They didn't leave the guy. So the guy was afraid. He didn't come out of the car. He locked the car, drove into the filling station. The mob followed him. They were going to lynch him and burn the car. He stayed in the car. He didn't come out. He called a soldier friend who came, and then sanity was restored. And the police officer was just by the road. The soldier went to tell the police officer to do something about the situation. He should not allow that guy to be mobbed. They waited till I returned from the show. I was on the show that day. I got to Abule-Ado. I saw the guy holding his eye. He supposed I said they hit me and my eye popped out. He was holding an eyeball in his right hand. Insisting my husband's manager had done that to him. You held the eye. And I kept looking at the socket of the eye. Where is the blood? Every other person in that crowd did not look at the socket. I said, okay, we are going to the police station. So the police officer said they brought a bus. All of us at Agboju police station eventually. Police officer was saying, how did you two drive speed? Look at the sports car you are driving. Car that was going to Bega anyway. He said, Kiniko, you have hit him, you have blinded him, you have all sorts of things. I kept saying, madam, let me look at the eye. He's not bleeding. Then I now spin the table on the man that, Moga, you see me, I'm a good Samaritan. You see this your eye, they will surgery it today. We are going to a general hospital at Alausa, at Ikeja. They must fix that eye for you. When did you have this? We now found that he had an accident as a 3-year-old boy, that the eye was completely taken out, and he wears a fake eye around. But he now practices a trade of using that eye to create, and they would have mobbed Stanko Daddy.
Oh.
They would have killed that guy. He didn't mind. So at the point, he was not saying, hey, we should not take him to police hospital. We should just find something for him. It's just hunger that led him to it.
Imagine that.
And they encouraged him that day to pay for hunger. They encouraged the manager, said, God give you something, let him be going. And that's how the matter was resolved.
Thank you for that story, because those are the kind of stories you hear and you realize that many of these things are just premeditated actions to cause people death. To cause people
He didn't care. He didn't care.
He didn't care.
The fact that he didn't care for me was worrisome.
Let me take this call, then I'll come back to you in a second. Good morning. Thanks for calling.
Good morning to you.
You're live. Go ahead, please. Farouk.
Okay, my name is Opanaji Farouk. I'm calling from Abuja. Just to talk about your contribute about the missing pennies and all these things. Okay, the truth of the matter is it happens. It's just that if you are not opportune to witness it, what exactly can we say about someone where a place where an accused already agreed that yes, he actually did this thing, and this is the purpose they are doing it, and that he's going to return this thing in the next 5-10 minutes. So are you still going to discredit that?
Farouk.
Because what is happening is that it is a spiritual attack, and once they touch you, you just feel shock. Not that the manhood disappears immediately. No, but it will shrink beyond normal size.
Farouk, can I ask a question? Have you seen it happen before?
Just yesterday, as I speak to you, my wife never agreed all along. But yesterday, right in her presence,
Yes.
it happened. The person that was held, but the person was not moved anyway. But he agreed that he did it, and the police came to pick him away.
Okay. Now, did your wife see the person, the shrunk penis? Did she see it?
Yes. They saw it.
There must be a medical
And the man
What
agreed.
state? What state was this?
The man in Nasarawa state.
Nasarawa.
In Maraba.
And which police station?
Yes.
Because we can follow up with the police station just to verify. So which police station
He was taken to the police station yesterday.
Which one?
Where?
Abacha Road.
Abacha Road. Okay.
About which command?
Yes.
Which command? Do you know?
That's Nasarawa now. Nasarawa State Command now.
Natural State Command. Okay, so we'll follow up with the
Yes.
police station there.
Yes, we
Yes,
need
it
to go.
happened.
To
The man
find
was
that
whisked
story.
away, and he agreed.
Abacha Road. Okay, so this was just yesterday. Thank you very much, Farouk. We'll follow up with our police to see, to verify that story, if indeed it happened, so that we can have a good perspective and proper context to this conversation. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
So I realize that you can't change people's beliefs.
You can.
So there are people who they will say they have seen this happen over time, right? You will be doing a lot of convincing and convincing and convincing. So the best thing is to create a system that handles that, a system that sorts out everybody. So if you bring your spiritual belief, it happens so, and we open it up. Like the example he gave now, the person now accepts that I actually took it, but I'll return it in a few minutes' time. The person has to be prosecuted. Because you cannot.
Okay, hold on. Okay, let's
He's
finish.
just trying to put a system in place that protects people from being mobbed and killed unjustly.
Okay.
So we may still have people who would actually do it. We want to believe now that the spiritual is still there.
Okay.
And some people are still doing juju and jazz, and it still works, right?
Okay.
You put something in place to protect people. You also put something in place to protect people from dying for something they have not done. So that you settle all the beliefs, and then we start educating people, making sure that people understand that these things are really not supposed to be, or they are not working, or they are not there. But we cannot just say, we cannot just rule it out and say it's not, assume it's not working. It does not happen. It doesn't happen because there are people who will tell you that all their life they've seen it happen to their grandmother, it happened to their grandfather.
I want
to protect them.
Okay, I want the person that.
You. Let me take Lucas. We're holding for a while. Good morning, Lucas. Thanks for calling.
Hope I remember.
Good morning, Lucas. Thanks for calling. You're live.
I'm hearing you. Okay, can you hear me?
Very clearly. Go ahead, please.
Please, this issue that you people are discussing about, as they were, my fellow man said earlier, the fact is that the issues of taking law onto the hand like that is not good. That's the reality. You understand?
Okay.
Are you here with me?
Yes, go ahead, please. Trying to hear you.
The way they are taking law into their hand is not proper, and that is the reality. But the issues of manhood disappearance, that one is real. You understand? When it has disappeared, it does not mean that you never see the side fail, that it will never function. Because if you say, okay, make it the social person, let's see. You will see the man who is there, but can it function?
Can it function?
Can it function? How would you know? Like, how would you know, Lucas? Like, is it your role to know if it functions or not?
The manhood is there. You understand? But it will not function.
How do you know it's not functioning?
How do you know it was functioning?
How do you know it was functioning before they happened? Or how do you know it's not functioning?
Of course. When they remove your money, you will feel it from your body. That one is there. You understand? And physically is there. But the question will never.
All right. Thank you very much, Lucas. Let us understand Lucas. He's saying that you experience it where somebody takes out the manhood. It doesn't go physically, just that it doesn't function. And the question is, you are a bystander. How do you know if that manhood was functioning before? And how do you know it's because of an alleged touch that caused it not to function? Do you know? We don't know these things. We only assume based on people's false allegations. It could be true, it could not be true.
Exactly. So that's why I agree with the part where you said there has to be a system in place that will do a proper investigation. So for those who say that it goes away, we will take you to a place where they will check you. If it's there, then we can say it's there. If you say no, it's a different size, then you have to show proof of when it was other size. If you say it does not function, then we'll bring your wife so that we'll give you the privacy for you to see if it functions or not. And then we can find out also if our, or whoever it is, you know, we need to find out, or the doctor needs to find out. But I'm going to say again that it's not true. This does not happen. In fact, the stories I'm hearing further convinces me that this is not true. You are talking about people who say that he said some people confess. Uncle, you have surrounded a person in the middle of the market. First of all, the person is confused. The person is hearing you stole it. So yeah, and is thinking, do you know the human survival instinct is like, okay, let me say what they need to hear so that I can be safe. How do you put someone in that situation and say they confess? And because, Uncle, they will say anything you need to hear so that they can save their lives. I agree with BC about that system. If people in Nigeria, I wanted to say, there's no group of people, because we are the different people that are calling us now from different...
Yeah, Nigerians.
See, when you see a situation like this, there is a system, or there should be a system.
Come and go and report here.
Report. And then while you are reporting, stand there, tell them that they should show you the person. The person should strip. The other person, if you believe, they should check their bags or whatever too to see if they have put it in there. Then they should take a doctor should come and also confirm if it was a different size, the same size, if it functions, if it's not functioning. And the doctor can also tell you if it's something that person has been born with. Please don't take innocent lives. As much as you believe that this, do you know, I feel passionate about this, I'm sorry. As much as you believe that this could be true, give that accused person just a little benefit of doubt so that they can prove themselves to you before you take someone's life. Abba, I can't believe this.
So wait, hang it. So first things first, because I just forgot everything. So I think I have a caller holding. Good morning, are you there? Chief Ogo Chukwu, thanks for calling. You're live.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
I'm an elder. Some time ago, 1995, I was dating a lady. So one fateful evening or night, the lady came to my house. By the time I take my bath, do everything, I find out my body is flat. The lady cried her eyes out that day. It's like they concern her more than me. Everything was flat. Nobody do me to do. So that is why I did not believe on whatever they are saying. People are saying. The one that happened to me is what I'm telling you. So it's like I beg the lady to go. Tomorrow morning she'll come. When I come back the following day in the morning, everything was normal. Do you understand?
Thank you, good.
So most of that body reaction.
Yes.
So that's what I know.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for calling.
I'm going to try to read a few comments. So many comments that I'm having. There's another person, let me just end with this really interesting comment. This person says, I don't have a name, says, I'm just following your program, and I just want to add that I don't disagree that some incidences of people losing genitals may be staged. However, I have witnessed it before in Festac. The guy gave some money to someone who asked him for assistance. So, according to this story, the culprit was apprehended, and even when he was beaten, everything they hit him with never impacted on him until they called the OPC. Whoa. The man insisted that he would not undo what he has done until the police is brought to arrest him. It was after the police came that he did something and asked the guy to confirm it. The guy was taken to a hotel to make love with the prostitute. It was then he was brought back. Okay, I didn't really get that. But he is saying he witnessed it, but this is still not clear evidence.
Even this still doesn't support the fact. So what we have seen, I gave examples of what I've seen. Everybody have given an example of maybe what they have seen. Going to school in Ojo, Lasso at the time made it popular. It's popular in a particular area. Mobbing, you know, crowding and all of those kind of justice. Well, once you say involve police, let's do proper things, you will not hear. Well, how come there's no urologist in Nigeria confirming the possibility of this outside medical field? There's nobody saying we've seen it and we're not able to solve it.
We didn't understand it.
Thanks to Gochuku that called that said, sometimes it's your reaction to a particular situation. It could be psychological. Something happens. Somebody hits you. Or, you know, we're walking on the road. Somebody will be flinging hands. The reason I walk now, I don't fling hand. I've flinged hand before the Lagos Island. I touched what my hand is not supposed to touch. I started screaming. The person was laughing and he walked away. So don't fling hand. You can be flinging hands.
Right,
you can be doing anything. No, these things are funny, but you can be flinging your hand and somebody will accuse you.
Let me read from the Nasarawa, because we're waiting to speak to somebody from Nasarawa based on the caller. But based on the report that we read, and let me just read the article right now. The PPRO of Nasarawa DSP Rahman Nansel reported that the two individuals were arrested, taken to the hospital for checkup, and given a clean bill of health to both of them. The PPRO further explained that no lives are lost due to the prompt intervention of police. Yes, there was a mob attack yesterday in Maraba, and the police force quickly intervened. So this is just reporting based. I'm not sure if it's the same story he was talking about Pacha Road.
Even if it's not,
possible.
But he's saying that since there was a clean bill of health. So if you have a psychological reaction that shrinks you, for instance, and then you return, did somebody steal you? What we are trying to talk about is whether somebody stole your something. If there was not a stealing, why was there a court?
So if once they confirm that nothing was taken, what happens to the
person you
accuser?
have already mobbed?
Because you now walk away free to do it again to someone else.
Okay. Let me take this call. Aldo, thanks for calling.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Okay. I'm listening to your program, for some time now. I like the topic of the debate. You know, 2003, I was with my brother coming from primary school. So a stranger comes to our village. We don't know him from anywhere. So he asked my brother of a particular place. And he came to a particular place. Immediately he answered. He fell down. You understand? He fell down. And he shouted, what happened? So he feel that shock. So when, the next thing, he said he feel that shock from his mouth. And we confirmed that.
Can you hear me?
That is exactly what happened.
Not clear.
He's confirming. He said his relative was in contact with someone and he had a shock and he fell down. And immediately he had that, he asked that something had gotten missing, but they checked and it wasn't this situation. Saying that something led to it. Not exactly that somebody took anything. He didn't confirm that something was taken. What we are dealing with here is people asserting concretely that somebody took something from them that the person had to return.
Yeah.
To the extent that security officers are not trained, they don't expect, cannot ration.
Doesn't make sense.
This thing. They keep beating the person, return it.
He said, somebody here says, though not empirically proven, traditionalists are of the fact that stealing of manhood exists and the manhood are momentarily used to deceive people magically to be used to commit fraud, and after sometimes is returned automatically.
How do you use it to commit fraud and return it? Okay, but let's talk about, you know, there's also an incident that happens when we're growing up. They will say if you pick money, you turn to yam.
A goat.
Turn to a goat, yes. Have you witnessed it? Have you seen anybody who turned?
And we even match money.
I just thought it was something our parents told us
so that we would learn
better away from what is not habits, you know.
Okay, so you know what? I'm going to break. If you have lost your manhood before, please call the show.
Yes.
I would really like to hear. If you know that you've heard or you saw or you were there,
you're lost.
It was your manhood that was lost.
If you're too shy to call, please send us a message. With pictures if you still have.
It was your manhood that was missing. I would really love to hear, just so that we can put this in proper perspective. Let me take this call before I go on a break. Good morning. Thanks for calling.
Good morning.
Morning, sir.
Yeah, it's Taro from Okay, I'm from Kogi here.
Okay, thanks for calling.
Yeah. Oh, concerning this issue of this Manhood schooling, actually, I was able to engage a neurologist and I got information concerning this cultural syndrome. Most of these our people, they say that the idea that this thing is true and the blatant lie. Oh, we have already having the issue of point that whenever somebody touch me, something must miss. Okay, I witnessed 2 cases that happened in Nasarawa State University because I was close to that place then. So 2 students, they attacked about 2 guys now. They said they are from last year and they attacked those guys. They said they threw their mouth or something like that. I think they beat these 2 guys to hell until the police came to intervene and took them to the police station. After then, never had any report that something was stolen. So that is number 1. And number 2, other case happened in Lagos, around the Badagry Expressway, where my brother was accused of such thing too. So my immediate other brother followed down, and with our daddy, they followed down, discovered that nothing like that happened because I would take my brother to nearby all these roadside Ashel used to call them, and he was able to use his manhood very well. That's the problem. And that's to bring it back to the house. So, and I wonder, why these things are bad being cooked or something like that? So, what I discovered is that whenever they need anything bloodshed, they vent different kind of stories in the air. Some people can die, anything can happen, and this and that. So, anyway, I'm first time caller anyway. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for even putting
So somebody is saying that you hear a lot of these stories, especially in Kaduna, Nasarawa states. They say it's quite popular in these states. I would love for us, if you can reach like the police command, to find out how many of these accusations they receive, the reports they receive, like maybe on a monthly basis. And then maybe we need, those states, they need to do like a proper sensitization program for them. If you have your beliefs, you truly believe that it happens, okay, give that person an opportunity to go somewhere and prove the case.
Yeah.
As we've seen, as the last caller said, someone was able to prove that the thing was working after. So stay with your beliefs, but give the person a chance to prove themselves innocent.
It goes back to the role of the local government again. That's where the
local government too has to believe.
Sensitization. They have to educate the people when they're
about traditionalists. Until recently, women with body hairs were called witches.
Wicked.
Women with body hairs, until somebody told us what PCOS is and how some women can have certain hormones, nobody called it medical. Now witchcraft.
Aha.
Now witchcraft.
Yeah.
So you don't come and tell us what magic is stealing something. You cannot substantiate anything. And you want to just want to take somebody's life.
We're going to break. I'll be right back. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. I know we wanted to bring in our guest, but we wanted to say something for
Yes. So, in a developing country like ours, aside from developing, before we get to the developed, the main job of the government is to protect the people's lives and property. And also, if it's needed, protect the people against themselves, protect the people. Like sometimes the people really do not understand or know what's best for them. Absolutely. And that's why we have leaders who are supposed to know better. We have leaders who go for trainings and courses, who will come with a broader knowledge to understand that, okay, this is still a cake. We need to move from this level. And so we must have the government protecting the people from themselves, especially in a world where there are several beliefs. See how a lot of people are believing what we're saying. That's one. Secondly,
I have to pause you. The guest was called, that was journalist Comrade Japheth Odesoya, who's on the phone to help us shed some light on this. Good morning, Comrade. Oh, I'm so sorry. I do apologize for holding you. I really wanted to hear his thoughts. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, so then secondly, we must have deterrence so bad that before you think of accusing somebody, you will know that if it's a lie, if you are caught and it's a lie, you are going for it. Because all the years we've had things like that, at the end of the day, okay, no happen, no, oh, they don't return them, everybody goes home. Nobody's arresting anybody, nobody's prosecuting anybody, nobody has been sent to jail for accusing somebody unjustly of taking their body parts. So if we have that strong deterrence that if we investigate this matter and we find that you told a lie that nearly cost somebody his life, you are in for it. It will reduce, because it's been a long time I heard this kind of thing. Growing up, it used to be like every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks. We'll hear it in 1 quarter, we'll hear it. I've never heard it in Lagos since I came to Lagos.
No,
I did not stay in that area. Yes, but for us to, in 2023, when the world has moved so far, we still have people who are collecting body parts. There must be strong deterrence. The police must be on it. The soldiers must be on it. All the security agencies must be on it. It must be a law in the Constitution. That's accusing someone falsely. That's false accusation.
Let me take this call. We have the comrade is back. Comrade, thanks for calling. Comrade Japheth Odessa, he's going to be sharing his thoughts on this. Thanks for joining us this morning. Good morning, sir.
How are you?
Very well. Go ahead, please.
All right. It sounds always funny, you know, and it's demonstration of humiliation and ignorance on the part of those who are involved. If I'm a babalawo and a practicing one for that matter, a court traditionally of Yoruba extraction. Then Oromela, who brought the Ifa religion and divinity into the world, I have never come across anywhere in the Ifa corpus where manhood is necessary, you know, for prosperity. Wow. All these ritualistic tendencies, they are alien. And it's sad because our own tradition has been doctored, perverted, so much so people see it as a demonic thing. It's sad. If you want to be prosperous, if I encourage you to be hardworking and be smart, it's in the back of our worry. Only iṣẹ́ ni tọ́jú, owó iṣẹ́ ni béèrè, elekuru owó tẹnu bá mọ̀ lẹ́nu ṣe, iṣẹ́ ní ṣe, iṣẹ́ ti ṣe ni tọ́jú. That is, you have to be dutiful and be caring and be diligent in your business to prosper. So it's as simple as that.
Okay.
I don't know why you need manhood, what necessitated it. I can't just understand. It's not our tradition. It doesn't belong to us.
Thank you very much for clearing the air on that part, Sister. Now, I have this message from Jalil Aziz. He says that I don't believe in manhood being stolen or disappearing from a man. It is a barbaric belief and dysfunctional mindset. I once felt the same way when my marriage ceremony was underway. For a week, I was worried if my marriage would go on as planned because I couldn't have an erection. However, when I managed to put my mind at rest, it came back and everything, and even without medication. So it's all about the mind.
Thank
you very much.
So, but who can help us explain the shock?
Someone sent me a message. He's saying that he's experienced it, that it happened to him, but he's saying I should not mention his name. If we can put names to...
So he removed that.
That he said he experienced it. He didn't tell me details. It's on my WhatsApp now.
Expand shares because we want to understand.
If you're going to confuse me more, I don't want to hear it. That's the truth. I want to understand how this thing works. And I was going to answer to BC. We have our criminal law provides for malicious prosecution, false accusations as criminal. And somebody will do this thing, they will now say the thing return, the person will now go away. Because we will not prosecute the person. We'll say, sorry, or you too, sorry, for the amount of beating.
Somebody said earlier about we need a system in place. I'm not sure to we need local government. We need a system that is very local to us. So imagine somebody who falsely accused somebody of removing manhood, and they cut off your 2 fingers because of that. You know, something is physically missing on your body because you see for everything you falsely accuse somebody, something you have a missing part. When you lose 2 toes, 2 fingers, or you lose an ear. These are things that...
That's how I know they disappear.
Hear me. I'm talking about the consequence.
The accuser now.
The accuser.
Yes.
We must lose a part of his body. You know, we need to go back to the local law because we act as if we are woke.
We are not woke anything.
But the truth is that we are not. We pretend to be because, oh yes, the world is globalized and there's enlightenment. But the truth is that in the core of our core, Many of us aren't. And we need to go back to laws that can actually help to change mindset. And what kind of laws? It's not by saying take them to court, arrest them. That one not going to do anything. It is when you remove their fingers, you cut off their nose, you reduce when they realize that if I do this, local government will arrest me and this will happen to me. They will never do that again in public.
Because I saw a mob action once where they were targeting the guy's head with sticks.
Hey.
If that guy gets home and they say sorry, as everybody says sorry, and he develops a mental health issue,
that's it,
that lives with him for life.
Yes.
The person that accused him is now be balling. Is it proportional?
Or you will not be born again later.
No, is it proportional to the damage done?
And now go to heaven.
It's better to delay the justice, investigate it, than act. I'm not saying, because some people are saying we are woke. It's better to investigate it, delay that justice, than to take that justice. You say waiting, and you rush somebody, you mob somebody. If you witness where a mob killed somebody before, you will never take part in it.
Remember Alufo?
Thank you. That thing was even trending. Most of us just read it. Alufo at the time, I didn't even have a phone. An Android phone I could use. We're using this small Palasa phone then. Now, you will stand, you will just see this thing happening. You will see people just rushing in droves and killing somebody.
So bloodthirsty.
Haruna from Abuja. Thanks for calling, Haruna. Final caller this morning. Good morning, Haruna. Yes, go ahead, please.
I want to contribute this topic.
Yes.
This is a very, very important topic you are bringing. Some people will just go and find trouble to put somebody in chest there.
Harm's way.
Like what happened day before yesterday in Wuse Market. These guys said the question. They are running to him. Unfortunately, he was armed. He said, anybody that touched me will die here. They will disappear. I think that this man was not with arms, with his body as a policeman. That's how they will just finish this man there. It's a good topic. If they steal your pennies, go to the police and report. Don't take the law into your hand. They kill many people. Not because of innocent people. Accused of people that have not do anything that will accuse me and start beating me. When you want to police, bring your plate, bring your drink, let me see.
We have to wrap. Thank you very much, Mr. Harun. We have to wrap up. Your final thoughts?
No, I have comments.
Yeah,
so I have Son of Takum. Taraba State too, I hear, is very popular for this. So he says this genital stealing of a thing is true and real. This has been happening for years. It happened to my elder brother in 2014. The trauma of it is what killed him some years after. I will reach out to Son of Takum, so I'll find out details on what happened, because we need to understand this phenomenon.
So we have to wrap up, but I think, as we said, from this conversation, we're asking questions because we don't know. Some are insisting it happened. Others are saying it is very unbelievable. But either way, the police have said, in many years, a few people have spoken to so far said, in all the years they've investigated stuff like this, when they come, when they finally have it, the manhoods are restored. So there's really no issue. Others are saying it has happened to family members. So this is just a part one of it. We still need to address it properly, where people who have actually had a missing genital as a result of this kind of thing would like to have you on the show. Call the numbers. You can send an email to yourview@tvccommunications.tv. Would really like to hear from you so that we can then design some kind of a system to help nip this in the bud somehow. Because if we don't know it really exists, if there's confusion of is it there or is it not there, it's not clear on government. So let us have clarity, and once we do, hopefully government can help us to resolve this. But that's all we can take on this. Thank you all for joining the conversation. When we come back, bringing our Let's Talk guests, stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us on this segment. We will be discussing the unending power grid collapse. Joining us on the show to discuss is the power sector analyst and CEO of Sage Consulting and Communications, who is a legal practitioner and communications specialist with focus on power sector. Mr. Bode Fadipe. Welcome to the show, sir. Okay, right. So I'm told that he's in our Abuja studios and will be with us shortly. But in the last few weeks, we had... Hello, sir. Are you there? Can you hear me? Okay. So I'm told that we've had... many of us have experienced quite a bit of power outage in our houses as a result of the continuous grid collapse we've experienced. And we thought that by now, the issue of grid collapse would have been a thing of the past. But many have actually complained because the issue of TCN transmission from the generating company first to transmission and then to the discos, there's always an issue where when the grid collapses, there's actually no power at all. And people are having issues even getting follow-up from government on how long it's going to take. Many have even suggested privatizing the TCN specifically. Others are saying government should retain a hold on the various parts of this power sector of value chain. But what are your own thoughts on it? You can call us on the numbers on your screen: 081 7641 679 090 241 63440. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read it. We'd like to hear your own experiences. What neighborhoods you live in? How has power been for you? What are the issues you've experienced so far in the past weeks concerning engaging your discos and others? Just let us know your own views while we're getting our guest to share his own thoughts on what can be done for the power sector to have some kind of a revival. Let me come to you, Nima. Let me start with you on this matter. The issue.
So we had...
1 second. I'm told our guest is available. Good morning, sir. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Good morning to everyone.
Okay, thank you very much for joining us. So we talked earlier about the power collapse, the grid collapse, and Nigerians have been quite worried about this incessant collapse we've been experiencing. What do you think is the cause, and how do we move away from this?
Thank you so much for having me this morning. The power sector, maybe we should lay the foundation. The power sector runs on a tripod. There is a generation, there is a transmission, and there is a distribution aspect of it. And a grid collapse, or what is commonly referred to as system collapse, can occur from any of these three legs. In terms of the collapse that we had recently, which is quite strange, and what makes it strange is the fact that for over 400 days, Transmission Company of Nigeria was able to keep the grid from collapsing. To now have a collapse, I think 15th or 14th of September or thereabout, and then another one occurring as a result of fire outbreak on the Kainji Jeba 330 kV line, and then the transmission station in Birnin Kebbi, raised a lot of concern, and that speaks to the question of what can we do. There is a strong feeling out there that this could be as a result of some compromise of security, because I'm saying the security of the power infrastructure, because again, the two areas that are affected are areas that service an external part of the country. In other words, one or two neighboring countries, precisely Niger Republic. And for us to now have that fire outbreak, it raised a lot of questions, and it calls for concern in terms of the fact that we need to keep greater eyes on our power infrastructure in this country. Otherwise, I think very strongly that transmission has been able to do so much to keep the grid from the incessant collapse that we experienced in the earlier days of the privatization. I mean, there were days we had up to 7 collapses in the grid, even much more than that, but for over 421 days, like I said, that collapse was averted until we had those 2 fire incidences on the Kainji Jeba line and then the Birnin Kebbi transmission station.
Okay, great, Mary.
Okay, I think for me, it's we understand that accidents happen, incidences happen. Could you maybe help us also, like the state of our infrastructure do you think, is it modern? Is it well protected? Is there a way to also know ahead of time if there's some incidences like the fire outbreak that you mentioned before it actually happens and causes a total breakdown? Are there things that we have in place? Is it an infrastructure that we would say we are proud of in 2023?
Now, you see, one thing you can give to the transmission station, and indeed the entire value chain, except that in terms of grade, you can say that from generation to transmission and even to distribution, there is a high consciousness for safety. But taking the transmission station that we are talking, the transmission company that we are talking about, their equipment are very expensive. They cover a wider area of the country. If any part goes off. Now, what I'm trying to say is that, your distribution transformer within your area, maybe a street in Okota, a street in Abuja, a street in Port Harcourt, a street in Sokoto, those ones are less number of people. But if Ikeja, for instance, where you have a major transmission facility, if anything happens to it, it will go beyond Ikeja. It will go beyond Lagos State. It will even go beyond some other, like Ogun State, that is the adjoining state to Lagos. So you see, it's covering a wider area. And because of that reason, transmission does its best to make sure that monitoring devices are installed in the network to give it a real-time information, which brings me to the issue of what is called SCADA. Now, the SCADA is a data acquisition equipment. The one that is in operation in transmission currently is not up to the point where it ought to be. But there is a rehabilitation program that is going on currently. As at 25th of August last year, a contract was signed for the expansion and rehabilitation of that network such that it can see everything at the same time and know exactly what is going on. But you see, when a sabotage is about to take place, you are not likely to be able to see that. That's a human effort. Right. That's a human intervention. Okay. But when it is mechanical or technical, of course, all of those ones are visible to read to the extent of the currency of the equipment.
Yeah. Okay.
So this power outage, that happens from time to time seems like it's a deliberate sabotage. Some persons are deliberately trying not to get us to a point where we have uninterrupted power supply for a very long time as a country. Now, what do you think can be done to understand why these people are doing this, fish them out wherever they are, and, prosecute them so that we see that government is intentionally working towards, ensuring that they meet up their mandate of uninterrupted power supply?
I think what can be done is very clear. The security agencies need to raise their performance level, and I know that at least for the fire incident that happened in Brenin Kebbi and on the Kainji Jeba line, that consciousness is there, and they are part of the investigation team to see exactly what happened. Of course, by the time they are able to see exactly what happened, more security steps will be taken. Otherwise, the other thing that you can do is also to make sure that all the equipment are in such a functional state, especially the ones that are monitoring the network, and they can also be able to give signals on some of these things. Otherwise, I think Nigerians need to be more conscious. Nigerians need to be more... We cannot afford a power sector that is not functional at this time of our life in this nation, particularly with the state of our economy.
Right.
I agree with you, sir. But do you still think it is sabotage, or you think that these equipments are outdated? Because, the power sector...
No, the equipment...
Go on, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, because, these equipments have been installed for generations. For instance, the Kainji Dam is as old as, older than myself. What exactly are we doing to modernize things? There are more modern equipments around the world, but we are still where we are. So what do you think?
will it shock you to know that Kainji has not even been exhausted? Will it shock you? Hydros are known to be able to last for a very long time. What you just need to do is to rehabilitate, remove the faulty parts, bring in a new one. That's one thing with hydro. They have a very long lifespan. Their reliability level is very high. Their efficiency level is also very high. And in terms of maintenance, is the cheapest to maintain. Wow. So for Kainji, which you say is older than you, I think we should even give Kainji kudos for still being there. We should give our engineers kudos as well. But that is not to say that some equipment are not due for replacement. They are. I mean, lines, for instance, they cannot last that long, and lines are being rehabilitated. I told some people this morning that transmission has done at least 26 rehabilitation projects between 2020 and 2023. In Lagos, for instance, transmission has about 30 programs or projects that they are executing. In Bauchi region, in Port Harcourt, in Kano, in Abuja. Abuja has about 16 or 15 projects that they are working on. For instance, in Alagmo, that is that is in Lagos with you, in Lekki, that is in Lagos with you, they are putting in 300 MVA transformers, 2x300. So they are replacing the equipment as they become obsolete, as they fail. They replace them so that they can also perform optimally.
Now, let me ask what many Nigerians are asking, especially concerning our ability to generate enough power for our use, or to even have the uninterrupted power supply. There's always been that debate of should we privatize the TCN especially. There's always the conversation that how do we generate more? Because they will tell you, oh, we're generating this amount of megawatts, and then transmission carries it, but at the point of distribution, it just they can't absorb all that's been transmitted. So the debates have been going on and on. What exactly is the situation, number one? And secondly, do you think we should start considering privatizing some of these the other arms of this value change for power sector?
Now, in terms of privatization, you are dragging me to a policy area. But in terms, because that's purely within the framework of government. But I know that the current Power Sector Act has made provision for a part of transmission to be pulled out and registered as a company, as you have the DISCOs and GENCOs. So that one is there. So maybe by the time they pull that one out, whatever is left is owned by government, and that is the ISO, Independent System Operator. As soon as NEC is ready to do that, they will do that when the time comes for it. Now, coming to where is the problem? Now, if you look at the United Nations requirement of 1,000 megawatts per 1 million people, you know that we need up to 200,000 megawatts. Do we have 200,000 megawatts? No. As at yesterday or thereabout, the executive secretary of the Association of Power Generating Companies said we have 14,000 installed capacity. Okay. Zungeru having been brought into the system. But if nobody is going to take the power, it's useless running the turbines. If there is no passenger at the park, you cannot be running the engine of your car. It's useless. You'll be consuming fuel. The engines will be wearing away. So they cannot be running turbines when there is no off-taker, which takes me to the second point, which is transmission. What can transmission carry now?
Exactly.
The stress test that was done, or the simulation that was done, shows that transmission can carry 8,500 megawatts. Now, if transmission can do that, what can distribution do?
Carry.
Now, one thing we need to know, let me just make this point very quickly. One point we need to note is DISCOs elect the load they want to take per day. They call it DISCO allocation. They call it DAN, day ahead nomination.
Okay.
They nominate the amount of load they want to take at any point in time. Okay. And that's a function of so many other factors. They cannot be blamed for it per se, because it's a function of so many factors.
So let me be sure that we're clear. So our GENCOs have 14,000 capacity. TCN can only transmit 8,000 capacity. So from 14 capacity down to 8,000. Now, even the 8,000 that TCN is taking, these codes will now determine through Dan what they can actually absorb. So usually maybe like 4,000, 3,000, depending on their capacity to distribute, right? Just to be sure we're clear.
Yes, just to be very sure that you are clear. Now, let me make it clearer. There must be a balance between what is generated and what is consumed.
Right.
Electricity cannot be stored. So, so if what can be consumed is 10 megawatts, that is what will be generated.
Okay.
If what can be consumed is 100,000 megawatts, that is what, unless the capacity is not there, that is what will be generated. There must be a balance. So when there is an imbalance, there will be problem in the grid. And that's one of the reasons that accounts for a collapse. If it's in excess or if it is too low, there will be a problem. So what is generated at any point in time must be consumed. And that's why the consumer is the one that elects what they can distribute. And that is a function of so many things. Can the consumers take everything? Even if the discos want 10,000, can the consumers take everything at the same time? Are they ready to pay for it? These are factors.
If it's about payments, yes. But if it's about production,
yes, no, it involves payment.
Payment's part of it, because if I collect it as disco, they don't pay for it.
But with prepaid, you don't have that business
now.
So it goes with the meters.
Okay, so I understand this imbalance you say. Are you saying that we have more production than consumption in Nigeria? Also considering that we are also servicing other countries?
If you use that line of thought, we have more production than consumption in Nigeria, it may not come out as clearly as it ought to be. With profound respect to you.
Okay.
Because again, the person that is consuming is the one that is electing. So if you have a shop in Balogun Market, for instance, and your shop can only take 10,000 cartons of malt, but the capacity of the manufacturing company is 100,000. It is only that 10,000 that you keep there. Or even if you have the capacity to take 10,000 cartons of malt, but those who are taking from you cannot take more than 5,000. You are also in business. You won't just stop, because in any case, electricity is not what you can stop.
This is an interesting part of the conversation that we really need to. I think we need to bring you back in, because we've run out of time. Because Nigerians really need to understand the issue here. You know, we just say there's no light in Nigeria, there's no light, there's no power, but there are reasons why there's no power. Some will argue that the manufacturing companies are actually ones zapping up all the power. Some will say they're not taking it up because they're using diesel. There are different arguments. We need to bring you back again to give us more clarity so that Nigerians are understanding exactly what the issue is. But thank you so much, sir. We have to wrap up at this point.
Thank you very much for having me.
You on the show. That is all we can take on today's show. Please don't forget, if your manhood has been lost, send us a message. We'd really like to interview you. Share your own real experience so that Nigerians can have a proper understanding of what this issue is about manhood being lost. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.